Okay, this is Todd Bowles. I like Todd Bowles. He's a smart guy, good coach, been around a long time, was a good player, an excellent defensive coordinator, and some incredible schemes, very creative, fun to learn from. He has not shown yet that he's a good head coach. He's not been in the best situations with the New York Jets. That wasn't a great situation there. We all know that, okay? But it wasn't like he was free of blame. I feel like he interfered on the offense a little too much, to be honest. He had a good coordinator, and they didn't get along or something, and that guy was gone. That's the one sign I saw. Okay, he left. He got fired. I think he was fired, and then he ends up with Tampa Bay. He takes over for HC Arians, who's still with the organization, but not as a head coach, like a senior advisor. This is an older veteran team. That's not real. I mean, there's a decent amount of youth still on this team, but they play this year especially. You saw signs of it in the playoffs the last 2 years, even when they won the Super Bowl. But this year it really came out like they look old and tired and they're beat up and guys are injured a lot. But more than anything, that all goes into this, into the whole culture. But it looks like a team that looks like Todd Bowles' face. Like, what is going on? They're better than this, and they don't play hard all the time, or a lot of the time. From what I viewed it, different stuff, I just busted my butt viewing a lot of Tampa Bay in the regular season. It's sort of baffling. These are veterans who know better, but I don't know if they're beat up even more, even when they're playing. I know they miss a lot of time because they're beat up. It's just like an old, tired team. Because other times they do play hard, and they're still good when they do. So I want to show they had a big lead against a flat Cincinnati team in this game. It was 17-0, and it was 17-3. And this is what they did with that lead. We're going to move into, I want to show you, and this is part of the issue. I'm not saying Bowles is calling this offensive plays, but we got a 3rd and 6. And this is the conservative, what you're going to see on 3rd and 6. And I remember this with the Jets too. Now, I'm not saying this is him exactly, but still, was this the mindset he, put out to his offensive coordinator? Protect the lead, 3rd and 6. Now, Brady I was about to say, see, he's not really looking. This is a screen. It's a little dink screen. I'm not saying that's not a horrible call or anything, but it's conservative. And he almost got there. So, that's not the big deal. But here's the big deal. Here's the situation. This is that you can live with some calls like that stuff. That's not the problem. Here's the problem. This to me was the epitome of their year. You need to see that again? Because I do. I'm assuming it was a fake punt and the guy didn't know and it hit him in the head. Okay? This was the beginning of a fiasco. The Bengals, who really didn't play one of their better games, actually ended up only getting a field goal out of this. We can jump ahead here. And yeah, whoop-de-doo, you got a field goal. Okay? Let's move to the next. All right. That was actually a pretty tough run there by Fournette. And you'll see that. Some of these veterans are tough. That's what's so crazy about this. They'll mix in like really tough stuff in between basically no energy and not trying. Okay, let's see if we can get to this. There it is. That's just a big hit. But again, they were really... Oh, they're showing that, and that's from another viewpoint. Boom. Just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not saying you do that once during the year or once or twice. But this was the epitome of the kind of sometimes lack of execution, but worse than that was a lack of effort. And a lot of times on defense, mainly on defense. They have a lot of talent still on defense. And Bowles was calling really good schemes early in the year. I noticed late in the year, though, he backed off that stuff. And now they're more vanilla because it's like I can't get these guys to play. On offense, beat up receivers, beat up offensive line, difficult defenses Brady's not used to in his career. A little bit of stuff like that going on. But here we go. Interception. And that's some of that stuff I'm talking about. Bengals drop out into a zone underneath. Okay, deep zone. I could probably cover 3 with underneath zone. Okay, only 3-man rush. Okay, This guy is matching up. He's playing almost a gap. What Todd Bowles sort of started, kind of a gap zone, gap D. Nobody talks about this much. He's watch this. See? Because Brady's thinking he has his zone out here in the flat, and he's going to make sure this guy, but he's eyeing up Brady, and Brady's just staring this guy down, and boom. And in the old days, Brady could get away with that. Bing. He didn't stare him down that much, but that guy was already ready for it. He was manning the gaps in the zone, which is just brilliant. I saw Bowles. That's what Bowles did against the Chiefs when people were calling it double coverage. Okay? So, Brady can do better than that, but believe me, Brady is dealing with a lot trickier defenses and stuff, and that wasn't even that tricky, but there's more tricky stuff. But, bad interception, and then we come down here, and I think they finally get a touchdown on that. Now you got guys yelling. They're veterans, and I don't blame them. The linebackers have been playing all year, David and the other guy. They're good linebackers, and they're frustrated, They've been playing hard. All right, so we're going to come up. I'm going to show one more. This continues the whole second half, but I think this is the sack. And it's not just a sack, but it's a fiasco. All right, blitz. Well, first of all, Donovan Smith, he's banged up all year. I get it. But, man, that's not good. But he gets his guy down, but he leaves such a gap. He didn't pass it off. There's no communication here on the line. It's just terrible. Here comes Wilson. And then here's the other problem. And we know this. Brady can move a little bit, but these days you want to have legs. Look at the quarterbacks now in the top 10, top 15. A lot of them have legs. They can run. Even a guy like Pickett, the new guy at Steelers, he can run a little bit. They can all run. Brady, not so much, and that's the problem too. If he could run, maybe not get out of this, but maybe. But, whatever. But the worst part is fumble. And another, here we go. Get another touchdown. Now the Bengals are up. They did another fumble later. Just a fiasco. Starting with the punt. And you look at more than the play, more than the result. Just watch this. I'm going to let it play. Just watch the energy. I don't know if you guys can see it the way I do. You think I'm reading into it. Just watch the energy. That, and they're like the Bengals back in this. The Bengals are good. Look at them. They're getting fired up. Now look at these guys. Oh, we got center handsy. What do I got to do? Brady's like, I won a Super Bowl, but maybe I should have stayed retired. I don't know what to do. What's the score again? I'm just, I'm having some fun here at their expense, but, and that's a rough hit. Whatever. But again, part of the thing that's going on is not that Brady still has some zip. Brady can read defenses really well still. He's great. It's just they're trickier now than ever. I could do a whole freaking hour-long video on all the tricky stuff he's seen, like everybody does. So that hurts, especially when you can't move. A lot of times if you're back in that pocket and it looks like a bunch of tricks and you're not sure, just run. Well, he can't do that. Or you're rolling out, there's all kinds of things you can do with a guy's legs. Brady can move a little bit, but almost, but that's not the big problem. He's still through, his stats look pretty good still. That's not the big problem. It's the lethargy. And I'm telling you, it's not an offensive issue. This was just the whole shakedown of all these turnovers. I'm making it look like the offense. I'm telling you, I've watched several games from the Buccaneers throughout the year, sometimes with their starters in the defense, and sometimes it's the backups. But there is lethargy. Davis, the cornerback, I've seen a game where he's terrible. Another game, he's fired up, and he's still good. Those guys are good, but you've got to want it. You have to have the fire. So again, is this on Todd Bowles? It was already starting before him. So I don't know what to say. Bowles is a head coach now, so it's on him now. Okay? It wasn't on him for last year's playoff game, even though people thought he screwed up on that defensive call. Again, great defense right there. That was a good defensive call. That was a surprise blitz. They weren't blitzing all game. They were mixing it. And the players they weren't together. They weren't listening. Half of them they didn't blitz. Some of them were just not even blitzing. Again, communication. Again, you want to blame Bowles? That goes to the head coach. That was Arians. This year it's Bowles. So here we go. Is an organizational thing. I don't know if they need an influx of young people. I don't know what they need. I don't know what they're going to do in the playoff game. That's going to be interesting. But they're beat up again. They're beat up heading into the playoffs like they've been all year. They're beat up, and if they look tired again, they're going to be in trouble.